welcome back to my channel. It's Nursing with Joe. So today we're gonna have a discussion about NCLEX. It's coming up. You have finished your exit exams. You have been through the hard stuff. You know, nursing can bring tears. It can bring a lot of anxiety. You know, it's tough. So this is like the epitome of why you go to nursing school, to take the NCLEX, pass it, get a job, and get to work and start your dream career. So how do we fast forward and do the final step of nursing school? Pass the NCLEX. Well, I'm about to share some information that may be shocking to some, but may be enlightening to others. No, just joking. NCLEX is something that we all stressed about. Well, I'll say 99.999% of people stressed about throughout nursing school, you know, because it was something so different that people discussed from our nursing exams, you know. And so we're going to talk about what to expect, how to study, what's your study plan going to be, all that good stuff that we always discuss on this channel. So first of all, what is the NCLEX? That's the first thing you want to know. What is it? Well, NCLEX is a national exam that tests information that you learned in nursing school on a comprehensive level. It's not expecting you to be a genius. Let's just get that rumor dispelled. It's not expecting you to be a master of nursing information. However, it's expecting you to know general knowledge that all nursing students know within the United States. Does that sound daunting? It can, but really it's not, because this is information that your professors have harped on and on and on every semester, and you slowly absorb, like you slowly learn that information. So when you get to taking the NCLEX, a lot of the content you see should not be strange to you. So now we know what the NCLEX is. It can range from 75 questions to 265. If you get all 265, that does not mean you fail. A lot of people feel that way, but that is not the truth. And I know it's not the truth because I know people who've passed the 265. So it's just, you know, giving you more opportunities, the more questions you get, to stay above the passing line. That's really it. It's adaptive to you, and it really gives you the best shot at passing. But you also have to give yourself a shot by coming in there prepared, not giving into testing anxiety, because that's where things can go astray. When you're anxious, you don't make the best decisions, and then you start seeing yourself quivering on that passing line. So how can we get you in a position where you feel comfortable enough to walk into the NCLEX and feel like you just may pass the exam? So it starts with preparation. Just like anything in life, you need to prepare in order to feel confident, right? So how do you prepare? What do you prepare? What's the process? So when I was studying for NCLEX, I asked people, you know, what did you study? How did you pass? And, you know, people gave me different answers. They said, listen to this, read this, do this. And at the end of the day, you kind of have to figure out what works for you. You know, in the last video, I talked about figuring out the kind of studier you are. Yeah, studier you are. And knowing what works for you. You know, is it visual, auditory, all that good stuff. So for me, it was a combination of things. It was, first of all, finding a test bank resource where I could do questions. Because what are questions good for? They test the content. They help you review the content. What do you know? How much do you know? You can only find out if you do questions. So I used UWorld. Very, very, very common. You know, a lot of people told me about UWorld, and I was like, let me try it out for myself. It wasn't too expensive. It'll cost you, you know, maybe $150 or so, but it's definitely worth the investment. Just for emphasis, I'm gonna just throw that out there. It's worth the investment. UWorld, I love the structure of it. It has questions in different categories that are all familiar to you, like cardio, vascular unit, endocrine unit, pharmacology, OB, PD, all that good stuff. It's divided into categories, and it actually takes the questions or the content that it builds from the test plan that's provided by Pearson VUE. And the test plan is basically a pie chart of a percentage of where you can expect your questions to come from different categories. Like they tell you in advance for your test year what they're anticipating you to know. So like one example is pharmacological and parenteral therapies. What is that? Well, if you go on UWorld and you do like the pharmacology section, you will notice that at the bottom of the screen, when you do your question, it'll tell you that that came from that part of the test plan. And say the question is about IM injections. Well, you know that IM injections is potentially a part of pharmacological and parental therapies. So it kind of gives you some guidance on, you know, that test plan that is on the Pearson VUE website and what to study, you know, what information you need to be familiar with. It also gives you a lot of statistics, lots of numbers to keep track with, you know, your percentile, your ranking, how you're performing. And I like to see the numbers because it kind of tells me where I'm at. However, for some, it can give you anxiety if you're not performing that well. I didn't really focus on that too much. The numbers I like to see are the numbers that come from the test question. So the example I gave earlier about IM injections. Say, you know, it was what needle would you use for an IM injection in a baby or something like that. And you got the question wrong. Somewhere in the question, you will see a percentage of UWorld users that got that question right. If it's 19%, I really don't stress about it. If it's 75% or more, then I'm concerned. Why? Because that is general knowledge, and the NCLEX expects you to know general knowledge. So that's kind of how I teetered my review and my remediation of questions to what I was getting wrong when it came to like a vast majority of users getting it right. You know what I mean? Like I don't stress too much on like 11% of people getting it right, because that's, you know, it's not a common concept that a lot of people know. But if it's a very common concept, make sure you review it. It's the best way to like prepare yourself for that exam, because like I said, it's testing general knowledge. This is an exam that nurses from all states take. And you know that every state has their own varying policies on stuff, but if it's a national exam, it's going to test you fairly, and it's going to be information that vast majority of people know. So when you go to UWorld and you look at the questions that you're getting wrong, ask yourself, is it a very common concept, or is it something that very few people would know? If it's a common concept, I would review it again. When it comes to how long you should study for the NCLEX, that's up to you. You know, like I said, do you need a week? Do you need 4 weeks? I needed 4 weeks, 4.5 weeks, yeah, to prepare for that exam. That's just me. And, you know, that was helpful for me. I feel like, too, you never really feel prepared. Like, oh, I just need another day, or if I had pushed it back. So just stick to your date and prepare for that date, you know? Count down, make every day productive. For me, I started slow with like 20 or 30 questions a day, and then I advanced up. But it's really not about doing questions, it's about doing questions and reading the rationales. Reading the rationales, I cannot stress that enough, because when you get a question, like you can get so many questions, there's like 2,000 and some, but you will never forget the rationale. And the rationale will help you get other questions right, because once you understand the foundation of that concept, then you can get all questions right, because the rationale covers all the concepts. So I think that that is very, very helpful to read the rationales on any thing you decide to go with. If it's UWorld, if it's Kaplan, read the rationales that are provided. You know, that's something that was emphasized through my nursing school, and it's something that they'll continue to emphasize. Read them and take your time to understand them. I would sometimes read a rationale and I'm like, this is not enough information. So then I'd go to my resources. I'd go to up-to-date information on a YouTube channel that I like and trust, Registered Nurse RN, Simple Nursing. I would recommend, if it's Simple Nursing, all the information that dates back to maximum of 5 years ago, because nursing is a science, it's always changing, so you want the most up-to-date information. Drive if you have the luxury, have somebody drive you, because it's kind of nerve-wracking to just drive to, the place. There's a lot of riding on it, a lot of anxiety, but really try to be as calm as you can. And another thing that will add to your confidence is being prepared. So I hope you found these tips helpful. I hope y'all ace your NCLEX. I hope y'all don't find too much anxiety when you're preparing for your NCLEX, and best wishes. If y'all have any video suggestions, any comments, concerns, questions for me, leave it in the comments box. I'll leave a description of the channels and resources that I thought were helpful. And I hope you like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. This is Nursing with Jo. Have a beautiful day.